Well, you guys, yesterday the Writers Guild voted to ratify a new contract with the studios, bringing an end to the 5-month-long writer's strike. We've been back at work for a few days, but now it's official, and after a long summer of picketing and chanting, it makes sense that they're exhausted, and writing jokes is hard work. They have to write hundreds of jokes every day just to get the 10 or 12 we use in the monologue, and honestly, a lot of the jokes they write just aren't good. Sometimes I think they throw in a few stinkers on purpose just to fill the page and meet the assignment. But just because we support labor movements, that doesn't mean we can tolerate laziness, which means it's time for another surprise inspection. So here's how this works. I'm gonna read some real jokes that were really submitted by my writers, paid writers. Paid better than ever before. That are unusable for the show. Some are dumb, some are offensive, some are just insane. Most importantly, the writers don't know we're doing this, and because a lot of them don't watch the show, they'll never know. So let's get started. It was announced last week that Usher will headline next year's Super Bowl halftime show. Okay, but who will help everyone find their seats? Matt wrote that joke. And he was unaware we were doing something called surprise inspection when he took the photo. That's why he's smiling. According to the personal finance website Wallet Hub, Orlando is the best foodie city in the country. Guys, it's expensive, but it's so worth it. Mike Scollins wrote that joke. Mike Scollins is what's known as a bad guy. He's a bad guy who writes jokes that don't make people laugh or make them happy. It makes them think, oh my God, they are eating. They're eating Shamu. That's the kind of joke. But you know, let's not forget, going back to Goldrich's jokes, there's not ushers at football games. How'd they find their seats? With a ticket number. Also, usher. So there's one usher for the whole one guy running around. Today was musician Sting's 72nd birthday, and while he started his party today, he probably won't finish till tomorrow. Now, that joke is dependent on you knowing that Sting practices tantric sex. Obviously, guys, you guys don't know that. It's literally all Allie talks about. We stop playing Sting music in the office, because if you do, she just is like, do you guys know? And we're like, all right. Excuse me, guys. I cough when things are going really well. Eggo has released a new maple syrup-flavored milk, or as it's known in Canada, breast milk. Yeah, it's that dude. Authorities in Indianapolis recently captured an escaped pet monkey that was spotted drinking a beer out of a garbage can. The monkey's name is Slurious George. Ian wrote that joke, and that's the face he makes when he writes one. Do you get it? It's based on Curious George. Yeah, get it. This next one's an Ian joke as well, and I'm confident you're gonna think Slurious George is the best of his work. We're gonna all long for Slurious George in a moment. Florida wildlife officials were recently called to a yacht club after a bear was spotted on a docked sailboat. Officials gave the bear a stern talking to and then another one on the bow. So a bear who was on a boat. And Ian's take on that was not to make a joke about the bear part, but just that there's a bow and a stern on a boat. A bear. A bear was on a boat. He didn't think there would be a joke in that. I know exactly how it happened. He was like, well, show him. A cheese delivery service in Florida recently set the Guinness World Record for world's largest charcuterie board, and then to celebrate, they threw a huge pate. All right, you know what? You got 6 claps. Let's see who it was. Yeah. You're off a roll. Customs officials at a Minnesota airport recently confiscated a box of giraffe poop from an international traveler. Apparently, she tried to bring it into the duty-free shop. That's Brian, everybody. And would you believe, this is gonna shock you, his best friend on staff is Ian. A truck in Ontario, Canada yesterday spilled a load of produce across the highway. Said the driver, oh no, they're going to garnish my celery. So they went on strike. They walked around. They walked around buildings like this one and like, what are you gonna do without us? That was Brian again. We make him and Ian share a desk. Princess Kate Middleton participated last week in a wheelchair rugby game. Oh, it wasn't for real? Asked Meghan. If you've been paying attention, you know that's this guy. The deputy mayor of Paris last week addressed the widespread rise of bedbugs across the city and said, quote, no one is safe. So before asking someone, voulez-vous coucher avec moi, ask yourself, itchy, itchy, ya, ya, da, da. Okay. Credit where credit's due. Congratulations, Matt. You earned your smile, buddy. I would not have guessed that was going to be our heavy hitter. In honor of Halloween, Burger King has reintroduced a Whopper with an orange bun and black sesame seeds, while McDonald's is celebrating by leaving the corpses in the ball pit. He was our strike captain. He was out there every day this summer, and let me just say, as our strike captain, you did a fantastic job, buddy. Congratulations on everything you did. Thank you for getting us out, getting the writing staff of this show out there every day, and it is wonderful to have them all back. And look, they can't all be fastballs, but it is great to have this writing staff back with us. This has been Surprise Inspection.